What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's CJ. This is Out of Bounds. And on today's video, we're going to be looking at some single stat player props for the NBA board over on PrizePicks and on the various sports betting websites. So if you're into the NBA, if you're into player props, this video will be very, very helpful to you. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Turn on notifications. I drop videos daily. My primary focus is PrizePicks right now, which is a great way to do single stat player props if you're not able to do sports betting in your state. So if you're into that sort of thing, definitely subscribe and stick around because we'll be doing more and more of that stuff as the season goes on. Now, to cover some things, first and foremost, if you haven't heard, I have launched an official Patreon page, which helps me out a ton as far as content creation goes. So if you haven't checked out the Patreon page yet, I will leave a link down in the description below. Also down in the description will be a link to our Discord. That Discord group is totally free for anyone to join. And if you want, you can also join the premium Discord channels. That's all included with your Patreon pledge of just 20 bucks a month. So definitely check that out if you're interested, and I appreciate all the support. Now, without further ado, we're going to check out some NBA news real quick, and then we'll get into points, rebounds, assists, and three-pointers made for today's NBA slate. So the first thing here we have for news is that the Oklahoma City Thunder are waiving Justin Jackson. Okay. Josh Hall, concussion, unavailable for the Thunder on Monday. Rui Hachimura, shoulder. He is ruled out for the Wizards on Monday. So that's a pretty big one to pay attention to. That definitely could impact some things for the Washington Wizards. Isaiah Roby is in concussion protocol. He's out Monday versus the Pistons. With Roby being out and Josh Hall being out, I would expect more for both Moses Brown and Poku. I call him Poku. I can't say his last name. You know who I'm talking about. The tall, skinny European guy. That guy. Wayne Ellington, he is going to be rested on Monday. He'll be out for the Detroit Pistons. It looks like Lonnie Walker will be out again on Monday for the San Antonio Spurs, so no Lonnie Walker. T-Wolves, Jalen Noel, he is doubtful for Monday, so no Noel most likely. Mason Plumlee will be rested on Monday, so he'll be out of the lineup as well. Pretty big news there for the Detroit Pistons. See if there's anything else here. Rodney Hood, hip, out again for the Raptors. And I mean, that looks like the majority of the major news so far for Monday. So we can get that out of the way and we can start talking about some single stat player props. And we'll kick things off with points. And the first guy I want to look at is Anthony Edwards, the rookie swingman for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now today he is over on PrizePicks at 24 real life actual points. Now my initial gut reaction was, I don't know if that's high enough for Anthony Edwards, so I'm leaning toward taking the over. But what I'm going to show you how to do is use some of these free tools, these free resources that are available to you out on the web. With a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, we can get a better idea, better insight on if the over or the under is the way to go for Anthony Edwards. So we're going to do that right now together. And let's kick things off here by looking at numberfire.com. Now, Numberfire is cool because they offer a number of different projections, both fantasy point projections and single stat projections. So we're going to be looking at points. Obviously, if you are on a PC like I am, hit Control F and you can bring up a search bar. Or if you're on a Mac, you can do Command F. And then you could type in Edwards. And his name is highlighted in orange here on PC. And you can see that he is projected for exactly 24 points, which puts him right on the money with PrizePicks, meaning there's a chance for a push here so far based on what we're seeing. But we're going to look at some other things here for Anthony Edwards. So we head on over to NBA.com/players, and they've got a pretty robust set of stat research tools. So we'll type Anthony Edwards' name in there. Now, I just did a little control click on his name so I could keep this window up, and it'll open up a new tab here. And you can see that his player card pops right up. Now, for the season, he's averaging 17.6 points per game, which puts him quite a bit under 24 points per game. But we also have to keep in mind that he hasn't really come on until later in the season or midway through the season. You got to remember that D'Angelo Russell started for this team at one point, Malik Beasley, and Anthony Edwards has just now started to come into his own for the Minnesota Timberwolves. So from here, you will click on the stats tab on his player card. Now where I go from here is I click on this little traditional splits. So you click that, and then you're able to pull up advanced filters, which allows me to change the date range. And under date range, they have a little section called season segment. Season segment's cool because you could change it from a full season outlook or perspective, and you could change it to the last 15 games and get a more recent set of game logs to see how Anthony Edwards has been scoring lately. Now you can see in his last 15 games, he's played in 15 out of those 15. He's scoring 24.2 points per game, which puts him over 24. So that kind of falls in line with my initial gut reaction of going over 24 real life points. So we'll change the season segment to the last 10 games. And you can see that in the last 10, he's played in all 10. His points dropped down a little bit to 23.3. Now that would put him under 24, obviously. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to go to his last 5 games. And you can see that in his last 5, his scoring average has bumped back up over 24. 24.6 points per game in his last 5. So I would say that overall, based on his recent averages of 15, 10, and 5 games, that the over is still definitely in play for Anthony Edwards. Now, the last site that I like to go to is rotowire.com. Again, all of the sites you're going to see in today's video, completely free to you, completely free tools. You can go out there and do all this stuff on your own. That's the goal here, is to show you how to do this. You don't have to pay any of these big websites, big time money if you don't want to, but I will say that some of them do save you a lot of time. So there is definitely some value there to paying for a subscription. But if you can't do it, like a lot of people can't, because hey, money is tight. It's hard to come up with, $20 a month or $50 a month on some of these sites. So I don't blame you. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing here, because I think it'll provide you great value. And it's a free way to do things. All it costs is a little bit of your time. But anyway, here on rotowire.com, they've got a NBA player props portion on their website. Now, what's cool about this is that it's going to take 4 different sites, 4 different sports books in this case, DraftKings, FanDuel, BetMGM, and PointsBet, puts them side by side, and let you take a look at the player prop of your choice and see how the action, in other words, are people betting the over, the under on a particular prop. So you could see that on DraftKings Sportsbook, they've got Anthony Edwards at 24.5 points. Now on 24.5 points, which is 0.5 more than what he is on PrizePicks, people are taking the over, which leads me to believe this is a good thing, taking the over on Anthony Edwards at 24. So far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Now, he's at 25.5 on FanDuel, not seeing any action right now. On 24.5 on BetMGM, people are taking the over on Anthony Edwards there. And then finally, the last website is PointsBet, and I don't know why it's not letting me scroll over. Let me see if I do it this way. There we go. On PointsBet at 24.5, people are taking the over there as well. So guys, I would run out and put Anthony Edwards at 24 points over in your lineups probably right now before it gets changed, because it looks like it's on its way to probably being bumped up. So there you have it. That's the first guy down. Now the next guy we're going to talk about is De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox, 26.5 points. He's another guy that I'm looking to take the over on. This matchup here against Minnesota should be a pretty favorable one. And I think that at 26.5 points, De'Aaron Fox can definitely get there. Now, one thing that I want to do that I meant to do before I started talking Anthony Edwards is look at the game totals. And let me close this out real quick. You could see right up here at the top that Minnesota-Sacramento has a game total of 235 points. Guys, that's a ton of points to be scored in this game. The spread is also just 4.5. 4.5 points, which means the game's going to stay close and competitive. The starters, the stars, the main players in these two teams should stay in there for 4 quarters worth of minutes. So they should get a full run of minutes. So Now that we know that, we can go ahead and do a little searchy search here for Fox. And De'Aaron Fox is projected for 25.4 points, which flies in the face of me wanting to take the over on De'Aaron Fox at 26.5. So the projection's not looking good for Fox. They think he's going to go over, according to Number Fire. But we're going to go and take a look at his recent games and get an idea of how his averages look. So we type in his name. Once again, you can control click on his name and up pops his player card. And for the season, he's scoring 24.5 points per game, which again is under 26.5. But let's take things a step further. We're going to click on his stats. We're going to go into traditional splits. We're going to change advanced filter from all games to his last 15 and see how he's done here. And you can see in his last 15 game window, he's played in all 15 games, averaging 28.4 points per game. So his scoring averages in the last 15 games are a few points higher than what they've been for the season, which is a good thing for us if we're looking to take the over on tonight's 26.5. Now let's change it to his last 10 games and take a look there. Now his points have dropped a little bit. His points average have dropped down to 27.5, but still 27.5 is a full point more than 26.5. Now I'm no mathematician, but so far the over is looking like the way to go. Now let's see what happens to his scoring average when we change it from 10 games down to 5. Now in his 5 game totals, he goes down quite a bit actually to 23.8, which is below even his season average of 24.5. So hasn't been scoring as well in his last 5 games, but still, I think that I'm leaning toward De'Aaron Fox over here, just given the game total, given the spread, given the matchup. I think it looks like a good play. But last but not least, we're going to head back to RotoWire. We're going to type in Fox's name, and when you type his name in, you can see again that these various sites have props up for him. So at 26.5. DraftKings Sportsbook, not really seeing any juice over or under so far. Also at 26.5 on FanDuel Sportsbook. Looks like people are taking the over more than they're taking the under right now, so slight edge to the over. BetMGM, 26.5. They are taking the over there as well. And we go over to PointsBet, and at 26.5, you're not really seeing any juice one way or the other. PointsBet right now is split at -115. So if I'm leaning one way or the other, it's going to be De'Aaron Fox over in this matchup, given the reasons I mentioned earlier. So there you have it. Now we can move on from points and we could talk assists. The assists that we have up on the board aren't many, so we're just going to look at a couple of guys here. The first guy I'm going to look at is Pokusevski. Pokusevski. I think I'm saying that right, finally. Poku. Let's just call him Poku. 3 assists is his magic number today. I think he goes under 3 assists, but let's do a little bit of homework here and see if Pokusevski under 3 assists is a winner or a loser. So I type in his name and you can see it starts to come up right here for us. I'm going to go ahead and click on the assist column, and at 2.8 assists, that would put him under 3 assists. So far, it's looking like the under is the way to go on 3 assists. So let's take a look at the recent game logs for Poku and see what he's been up to lately. You can see for the season, he's averaging 2 assists per game. That's where we want him to be tonight if we're looking to take the under on 3 assists. We don't want him dishing for 3 because, I mean, it's a push. And although pushes pay, they don't pay nearly as much as when you get the over or under right. So again, we're going to click the stats tab for him, click on traditional splits, click advanced filters, click all games and change it to 15 games and hit run it. And it'll run that little report for us. And you can see that in his last 15 games, he's played in 12 of them. His assists average are exactly 3 per game, which would be a push, which I mentioned before I don't want a push. I want a clear over under. So let's run a 10-game report and see how he's been doing. Well, in his last 10 games, he's played in 9 of those. He's still right on 3 assists. So it's looking like a push might be in the cards here for Mr. Pokusevski. And then finally, in his last 5 games, you can see his assists are actually on the rise. 3.8 assists, meaning that In his last 5 games, in which he's played 4 out of those last 5, he's been closer to 4 assists than he has 3 assists. Now, we want him to dish for 2 assists. So 3.8 is a mighty scary number when you look at those last 5 game averages. All right, now we head back on over to RotoWire. They've got a little bar. I don't know if you could see it on the screen. Doesn't look like it. Looks like it's being covered by my little PrizePicks banner. By the way, if you haven't played on PrizePicks before, that little banner down at the bottom of the screen there, if you use promo code OOBDFS, it'll get you an instant deposit match of up to $100. So if you've never deposited on PrizePicks, never played on PrizePicks before, if you use that promo code, you'll get a $100 prize match. You put in $50, they'll match you for 50. You put in $100, they'll match you for 100. So free money giveaway. Why not do it? All right. So now that we have that out of the way, let's go to the assists here. We'll type in Poku's name. I like that. It's like Pokemon or Pikachu. He's Pokachu. On 3.5 assists on DraftKings Sportsbook. People are hammering the under, which means they kind of think he's going to go for 3 assists or less as well. Now on FanDuel, he's at 3.5 there, hammering the under once again at 160 for the under. And then finally, BetMGM, they've got him at 3.5 as well. And on that 3.5, people are smashing the under there as well. So it's looking like 3 assists or less is in the cards here for Pokusevski tonight. I'm taking him at 3. And I'm probably taking the under, hoping he doesn't go for 3, hoping he just goes for 2. But worst case, I end up with a push here. I don't think he's going to get any more than 3. I don't think it's going to be 4 or more. But hey, this is sports gambling, right? We could be right. We could be wrong. All right, the next guy I want to talk about in terms of assists is going to be Sacramento Kings swingman, Buddy Hield. He is projected at 3 assists today. And on this 3 assists, I kind of think he goes over. Against Minnesota. Again, high game totals, very close spread. This is a matchup where Buddy Hield could definitely go over, in my opinion. So we're going to do what we just did. Rinse and repeat. Type in Buddy Hield's name. And you can see that his projection is 3.2 assists. Now, I do wish that number was a little closer on the spectrum from 3 to 4 assists. I wish it was closer to the 4 end. I wish he was at like 3.6 or more assists in this projection, but that's okay. We'll take the 3.2. It's still a little bit more than 3. Now, let's go over to NBA.com. We'll type in his name. And when we open up his player card, you can see that for the season, he is at 3.2 assists. So they've got him projected at 3.2 tonight, and he's also averaging 3.2 for the season. So they think he's going to pretty much be in line with his season average, so to speak. Now, we're going to dig a little deeper, look at the 15, 10, and 5 game averages. So we hit advanced filter, change the segment from all games just to 15. Take a look at this. You can see that in his last 15 games, he's played in all 15, and he's got 3.2 assists in that time frame. We'll change it from 15, go down to 10. And in his last 10 games, his assists go from 3.2 down to 2.7. So that's a good thing. That's a good sign if we're looking to take the under, but in this case, I was liking the over, so I don't know. It's looking like a little bit of conflicting information here on Buddy Hield so far. Now, last but not least, we're going to look at his 5 game averages, and those continue to fall in the assist column. He's down to 2 assists per game in his last 5 games. So I was feeling confident about the over on Buddy Hield at 3. Now, I am not so sure. Let's see how Vegas is lining up here with Buddy Hield in these assist numbers. Now he's at 2.5 over on DraftKings Sportsbook. At 2.5, people are taking the over, meaning they think he's going to dish it out 3 times, maybe even more. FanDuel, same thing. 2.5, they're taking the over. BetMGM at 2.5, they're taking the over there as well. So if you trust Vegas and the way that people are betting over on the various sports books, it looks like a push of 3 assists might be in the cards for you. So this might be a fade for me just based on the averages and the way things have been shaking out. NBA has been super volatile lately, so anything can happen on any given night, it feels like. When you think you have it all figured out, then something humbling happens and lets you know you ain't got nothing figured out. But there you have it for Buddy Hield and those assists. Hopefully that helps you out. Now, the next guy I want to talk about is Moses Brown, and we're going to be looking at Moses Brown rebounds. Now, I've already mentioned at the top of the show that they're going to be out. Two of their top big men, both Hart and Roby, will be out. So you hope that Moses Brown gets more minutes. You hope that this 11.5 rebound prop is one that he can go over on. And that's how I'm taking him so far, is the over. So with that in mind, we will head back over to Numberfire. We'll go to the rebound column, hit sort there, and let's do a little search for Moses, because I think there's only one Moses in the NBA, and it's Moses Brown. You can see so far, guys, they've got him at 13.2 rebounds right now over on Numberfire, which puts him well over 11.5. This guy only has to get 12 rebounds to hit the over. They've got him projected for over 13 boards. So I'm loving what I'm seeing so far on Moses Brown. Let's type his name in here. And I should have typed in Moses again, but I didn't. Anyway, we click on his name, and for the season, you can see his rebounds are at 8.4. Now, Moses has really just been getting more and more minutes lately. Al Horford pretty much done for the season. You can say he's just an old man. So let's click on Moses Brown and get a look at some of his more recent game logs, because I don't think the season average is one that we can really lean on too heavy here. He's only really started to get minutes in the last few games, I would say 5, maybe 10 games. But in his last 15 games, when you look at his rebound average, he's at 11.8, so already over 11.5, looking good. Now let's change this from 15 to 10. And we go from 15 to 10, you can see his averages go up, 12.8 rebounds, liking the over on 11.5 so far. Now let's hope, fingers crossed, that the averages continue to go up in his last 5 games. And they do. He is up to 13 rebounds in his last 5 games played. He's been out there for about 28 minutes. He should get plenty of run tonight. As I mentioned, 2 of their other big men are out. More minutes for Moses Brown, more minutes for Pokusevski in this game. The last thing we're going to look at, we're going to go down to this little bar that you cannot see on your screen, but I promise there's a little bar down at the bottom of RotoWire that gives you the points, rebounds, assists, different buttons for different props. You just click it and it takes you right to where you want to be. We type in Moses Brown's name, and at 11.5 boards, people are smashing the over, as they should be. I agree. FanDuel, 11.5, over. BetMGM, 11.5. over. And finally, PointsBet at 11.5. They are hitting the over there as well. So this is looking like one of my favorite plays right now. I am sure that this 11.5 rebound prop for Moses Brown will be bumped up. Go get it now if it's still at 11.5. All right. The next guy we're going to look at is this man right next to him. Moses Brown's teammate, Theo Maladon. I don't know how you say it, okay? But you see the guy's name. He's at 4 rebounds, and at 4 rebounds, I'm also liking the over here as well. Let's see if that makes any sense, or if I am just completely crazy. So back to Numberfire we go. We type in Theo Maladon's name, and you can see that 4.1 rebound average is what he's projected for tonight. So they like him to go slightly over 4. Now, I wish this was bigger. I wish this was like 4.8, 4.9, closer to 5, but it's not. It's not. But that's all right. It is more than 4, which gives me hope. So we type in his name here on NBA.com, hit a little click action, and you could see that for the season, his rebound numbers are just 3.4 rebounds per game. That is quite a bit lower than 4. So, not looking good as far as season averages go. But this is another dude with SGA being on the shelf. He stepped into a lot more minutes too, both him and Moses Brown. OKC pretty much knows what they have with SGA. There's no reason to run him out there. They're not winning anything this season. They're not going to the playoffs or none of that. Why put those extra miles on one of your best player, your young prospect, SGA? Let's not do that. So it makes a lot of sense why they're going the route that they're going. So let's look at Theo in his last 15 games and see how the rebounds have been treating him. In his last 15, 4.6 rebounds per game. So I like that. That's quite a bit more than 4. I'm feeling pretty good about the over so far. We're going to hit run on his 10 game total. And you can see he's at 4.6, played in all 10 of those 10 games. 4.6, more than 4. Liking it, liking it. And then finally in his last 5, played in all 5 of those games. Boom. His rebounds have shot up to 5.6, which is way more than 4, making the over feel like a good way to go here for Theo. Now, last but not least, we're going to type in his name here on RotoWire, and Theo Maladon, 4.5 rebounds. They are liking the under on DraftKings Sportsbook. Huge betting favorite to go under 4.5, which means 4 rebounds or less is in his future, according to the bettors out there. Now, on FanDuel Sportsbook, minus 142 at 4.5. They are hitting the under there as well. At 4.5 on BetMGM, smashing the under. They think 4 is the number. And PointsBet, 4.5, they're hitting the under there as well. Pretty hard. So all across the industry, 4.5 rebounds. Everyone seems to be taking the under on Theo Maladon. I would lean, because of the way he's projected here on PrizePicks at 4, I would lean toward taking the over on 4. And worst case scenario, it looks like you're going to be set up for a push. But that's how I play those situations. I usually would just lean toward the over. All right. So with the rebound props out of the way, we can move on to the last category here, which is 3-pointers made. Now I want to give a shout out to Truly Pistol in our premium Discord. He likes Karl Anthony Towns to go under 3 3-pointers tonight. I believe he wanted to go under 3 3-pointers. So we're going to look at Karl Anthony Towns and figure out if the over the under is the way to go on 3 3-pointers made. All right. The big cat, he does attempt a lot of threes, I will say, for a big dude. So we're going to type in his name on NBA.com because NumberFire, unfortunately, they do not provide any 3-point made projections, unfortunately. So we're going to just have to dig right into the averages and look at some of his game logs and stuff like that. So when we do that, there we go. Click Advanced Filters. You can see for the season, he is attempting 6.2 threes. And on those 6.23 attempts, he is making 2.4 of them. So that is under 3. So far, so good. I'm liking where this is going. Now let's click on his 15 game averages real quick. In his last 15 games, he's attempted over 7 threes per game, and he's making nearly 3. So when you have 2 and you have 3, he's at 2.8, meaning that more often than not, he's up there by that 3 number than he is by that 2 number. So it's a little scary. It's setting up for a push, according to what I'm seeing. And then we click the last 10 games. You can see how this is looking. In his last 10, he's attempting nearly 8 threes per game, making over 3 3-pointers per game. All right. I told you, he takes a lot of them. For a big dude, he's shooting that 3 quite a bit. And then finally, in his last 5 games, 7.6 attempts, making 2.6. 2.6 is closer to 3 than it is 2. So, kind of shaky. Now, we're going to head back to RotoWire. We can click 3-point. You can see it takes us right to where we want to be. Love it. And DraftKings Sportsbook, they've got him at 3.5 3-point makes. Now, on 3.5, people are taking the under. That looks like an easy way to go. Now, FanDuel, they've got him at 3.5 as well. People, again, are smashing the under on 3.5. No prop up on BetMGM, but finally, PointsBet at 3.5 3-points made. They are hitting the under there as well. So it's setting up to look like a 3 3-pointers made, possibly less, for Karl Anthony Towns. I would probably lean toward taking the under and just hope that, it ends up as a push. But he's got a couple games in his game log where he just shoots a lot and makes a lot of threes. It's kind of weird. But the last guy that we're going to look at next is going to be Saddiq Bey. Saddiq Bey, he is at 2.5 3-pointers made. I think that he goes under that number, meaning I don't think he's going to make 3 3-pointers or more tonight. But let's look at it together and figure it out and see if this guy has been shooting the 3 ball with any type of good accuracy. I mean, because you got to make them. You can attempt all of them that you want, but if you're not making them, it doesn't matter. So we type in his name on NBA.com, go to his stats. You can see for the season that he is attempting 5.9 3-pointers a game, almost 6 threes per game. And on those 6 attempts, 2.2 makes. So he's not making very many. More often than not, he's making 2 3-pointers than he is 3 3-pointers. So we changed that. Click on the traditional splits, go from all games to 15 games and look at his 15 game averages. You can see that his 15 game averages, 7 threes attempted, 2.3 makes. So again, he's more close to 2 than he is 3 on that little spectrum. And then if we change that from 15 down to 10, 7.2 attempts, 2.5 makes, which is where he's projected tonight is 2.5 makes. So that's kind of like a coin flip situation. It could go 2, it could go 3. Now we'll go from his last 10 to his more recent last 5 game average. And you can see that his attempts have went from like 7 down to about 6. And then you can see his makes have gone from like over 2 to under 2 at just 1.6. So I think I'm leaning toward the under still here on Saddiq Bey. Now, finally, we're going to look at the various sports books and see what happens over there. At 2.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook, people are smashing the under right now on Saddiq Bey. And on FanDuel, people are smashing the under at 2.5 there as well. Nothing up on BetMGM for Saddiq Bey, 3-pointers made, but PointsBet does have him up at 2.5, and over there, he's a minus 150 to go over. So there you have it on Saddiq Bey. I'm liking the under still. That was my initial gut reaction. I'm sticking to it based on the research that I've seen, his recent game logs, how Vegas is betting. I don't think he's going to hit 3 3-pointers tonight, but that's the way that I'm going. You let me know which way you're going. Drop a comment down in the comments section below. Is there anybody from today's video that's really standing out to you? For me, it's probably Moses Brown, over 11.5 rebounds. As soon as this video is done, I'm going to go lock him into a couple of lineups and see what happens tonight. But I appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, just check and make sure that you're subscribed with notifications turned on. We're on our way to 800 subscribers. There's still about 45% of you that watch these videos every day that aren't subscribed yet, so definitely make sure that you are if you haven't subscribed yet. Again, guys, thank you for all the support. My name's CJ. I will catch you in the next video. Good luck tonight over on the NBA slate. Peace.